Hi guys, welcome back. This video will be the part 2 of things about film distribution, and today I'm going to go through my deliverable list with you. And deliverable are things you need to deliver to your sales agent or distributor once you sign a contract, and it's always good to know what you need to get ready now, even during the writing stage of a film production, so you can get everything ready during pre-production, production, and then post-production, and then not missing anything. So I thought it's quite important. This kind of content is generally very informative and a little bit boring, so I'll give you a tip here. You can totally watch this video with time and a half or even twice the speed on YouTube. In that way you will feel much more informative, and then it will save your time. Part 1 of the video will be in the description down below, and as well as all the resources that I mentioned in this video will also be in the description down below. Okay, without further ado, let's get the video started. And now I'm going to go through the deliverable list with you, and you know what to expect, what other things you need to give to this company in order to help you sell the film. These are basically the products that you're making, and I hope those information can make the whole process less mysterious and a little bit easier for you. I'm going to open the whole list on my computer right here. So my international sales agents delivery list is not as complicated as back then when I read my US distributors deliverable. I negotiate with them, kind of cut down a lot of things that I feel it doesn't really apply to my film, and then it will be very costly for me. And those are the things you can negotiate during the contract process. I've heard like a delivery film to place like Netflix, things like that will be much more complicated. Like Apple have their own formats and stuff going on, and usually they won't take any delivery directly from the producer, so you have to go through a aggregator. In my case, I didn't use aggregator because my distributor has done the work. They took my delivery and the format to match different platforms. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go through the delivery list with you. Yay, that's the exciting part. Meaning it's the mysterious and boring part. But bear with me, I'm going to try to make it as easy to understand as possible, and hopefully that can give you some insight of what you need to get ready. So the first thing on my list is DCP. So what is DCP? DCP is this. I got it ready for you already. So I got in a hard drive from the DCP company who helped me formatted DCP format. So it's basically a file that formatted in a way that for the theater to play, and a lot of people trying to make it on their own because it's pricey to make it. But if you want to have a good quality and make sure it will play perfectly and all the colors and sound is done right, you probably want to go through a DCP company. And then I use Simple DCP, which located in Los Angeles. I believe they can help you do DCP through internet, transfer file to them, and then they are not cheap but also indie filmmaker friendly. I know a lot of indie filmmakers use them, and if you have gone to film festival already, you probably already have a DCP because a lot of film festival play their film use DCP if they are in a very good theater. So that's the first thing. And then second is all the feature film digital file. I have 2 different files they requested. One is ProRes HQ 422, another is ProRes 444. It's 4K Ultra HD file, which that's what I have actually. And then usually it's basically settings that you can figure out in the video editing, the film editing software. If you have an editor, they will definitely know what it is, and they will help you export the correct file. And if you don't, and you're editing the film on your own, you can definitely go through YouTube channel. There are a lot of videos tell you how to select the right format. It's pretty straightforward. There's just like a selection of buttons that you can get the right file out, and they usually want it 23.98 frame per second, which is also a standard. If you know, when back then people shot on film, it's 24 frame of actual the still photo per second, and then now when we use digital file, it's 23.98 frame per second. So they want that frame rate. So usually they want a version with text and without text. Sometimes in the film you have some opening credit overlap with the image, or have some text that help you tell the story, not the subtitle. So it's just the text. For example, in my film, there's 12 years later. That's the text that they're referring to. They want a text version and a textless version. That's what I did for my US distributor. And in this case, for this international sales agent, they do not need me to give them two versions. They only need a version with the text cover entire film, and then the frame that have text covered, they want me put at the end of the film, which means textless at the tail. So put the frame again at the end of the film without the text overlap with the image. So when they need to use a textless version, or they need to change the text to different language, they can actually move that frame to the front to use that instead. I hope that makes sense. And then they wanted the separate channels of the audio file of the film, meaning the stereo file. You probably already know what is a stereo file, basically left and right. And also the 5.1 file, which is the surrounding sound. It will have 6 channels, so it will go in, if you go to a theater, watch Marvel film, you will hear, dialogue in the front, the sound effect and the music come from the side and the back. So it's basically positioning the sound into different speakers. That's the 5.1 file, and they want to be able to have all those files handy just in case they need to use or adjust anything. And then they also need the audio file separate even into more detail. So they basically need M&E, which means music, and the effect. They want the 6+2 M&E file. So that basically means 6 channel for the 5.1 file, and then 2 channel for the stereo file, but only with music and the effect. So 8 different channels only have the sound effect on them. You can't hear anything else. And then only 8 channel with only music on them. So in that way, they can make a trailer or use it to make like small clips for advertisement and just picking out session they want to use without interfere with the dialogue. And then they also need a stereo and 5.1 file of DME tracks. So basically means the dialogue, the music, and then the effect are all separated. And then they also need the wave file of the music just in case they need to use it in any promotional video. Next thing they need is the trailers. So it's going through the same thing again. The trailer, they need to have a ProRes file. Usually it's HQ422 texted and textless file, meaning they want to have an empty trailer that you don't have anything on them, so they can edit stuff on them. And then they also want a texted file, just in case they don't want to editing anything, or as a reference. And the same goes to the frame rate, and then the sound, also stereo, and then 5.1 surrounding sound. So by the way, the sound, all the sound stuff, I didn't do it by myself. My sound editor, who mixed all the sounds, when they deliver the final for you, they will export those standard file for you to begin with. I do have all of these for my feature film. I do not have all the sound requirement for my trailer yet, and then I'm planning on doing it myself because I really don't want to spend money for it again. There will be a lot of documentation stuff, key art, meaning the posters. So you probably already have a poster already, and then they want to have the picture file as well as the PSD file for the Photoshop, so they can have all the layers they want to pull out and edit in them. I hope that makes sense. For my US distributor, they are not only asking for the PSD file, they want me give them a list of, in the poster, which font I used in which section. They want to have detail like that, so just in case they go in to change anything, they can find the font, the same font quickly. And then they want to have approved photos, meaning the film stills for advertisement, basically, just film stills from your film. Usually they ask for a lot, and then that's one of the things I wasn't preparing for. Both my international sales agent and distributor asked for 100. My international sales agent actually asked for 50 to 100. My US distributor cut down to 25 for me during the negotiating process because I do not have that much. And now my international sales agent says I have to give them at least 50. So I have to kind of creating and figure out more for them later on. And then also both of them require me to give them a dialogue list. It's basically a list of dialogue with timestamp on. It's things that they use to referring to when they go back to basically changing anything, or if they want to dub in the film, that's a reference that they can use. So a list of dialogues with all the timestamp on there. And then they want a music cue sheet, and that's something confused me for a long time. So basically, when the music was played on TV through your film, the composer gets paid by their union. Let's see, if it's played on Netflix, Netflix will pay the union an annual fee to cover all their films. That's my understanding, and then correct me if I'm wrong. Netflix will pay for all the films all together to the unions, and each time when my film was played, when the music was played, my composer get some percentage, very small fees from the union, but those money add up quickly for them, and that's a lot of composer for indie film make money, and it's very important for them to make the cue sheet right. So the cue sheet, the cue means the music. Cue sheet basically is a list of music that appears in your film from the time it starts to the time it ends. And then this list of music have to follow the information of which composer it belongs to, and which union this composer is in. So you want to have all the detailed list of every single music that you used in your film, and they need that list to report to the distributor as well as the composer unions. And the next one is the music license for feature and then trailer. So that's one of the most important things those distributor and sales agents cares about, because they don't want to have any legal issue with the music that you used in your film. So whatever contract that you've done with your composer, or you kind of bought the rights for any pre-existing music, you want to have all the contract and the license ready for them to use, just in case somebody bring up issues saying, hey, you don't have the rights to use the music in the film, and you will have evidence for it. And the next thing is paid excluded ads statement. This doesn't apply to my film because I don't have any ads in my film, so I think I will pass that. But my understanding is basically the credit, like if you watch a lot of big film, I believe like Transformation has a lot of ads in there. I even see a Chinese brand milk in there that they were drinking and talking about that milk in the elevator. I think that's what it is for. You just need to have those contract and statement about these brands that appears in your film. And then the next thing is E&O insurance certificate and then policy page. E&O insurance is costly. It's $1,000 and you have to budget for that. It's basically short for errors and omissions. So you call errors and omissions insurance. Anybody who is going to distribute or representing your film will have you to purchase the E&O insurance for them and then basically add them into the insurance policy. What the insurance does is, just in case you missed anything about your film, like you use a picture or use a soundtrack in your film and you didn't clear the right properly, or somebody suddenly claimed this story is based on their life and they want to sue you, that's what the insurance covers. So what you need to do is to find an insurance broker and then offer them the distribution contract or the sales agent contract, and then based on the requirement, they will give you a sheet to go through a lot of questions about all the legal paperwork that you've done for the film, and then based on that, they will give you a quote of several $1,000s to cover for the film for several years. I believe mine is for 3 years. E&O insurance, it's not something you can do it on your own. You have to go find an insurance broker to help you get a good price for the insurance, and a different company will require different level of coverage. Luckily for indie film, it will be much lower, and then the coverage is also can be negotiated. I negotiated with both of the company that I'm working to. Next one is a billing block in a Word document and the logos. Basically, you want to give them all the logo PNG file, the backgroundless file for all the companies that you credited to, as well as the billing block, basically the above the line credits of all the leading talents and leading crews, your cinematographer, your composer, your editor, your producer, executives, all that stuff, production companies, and list of those important credits in a document for them so they can use and refer to in the future. And the next one is closed caption subtitle files, and this is something I already created for my US distributor, but it's basically pretty typical that they want to have closed caption for English in the United States area. Even if your film is fully in English, they still need closed captions for you. And then in my case, I also need to create a Chinese closed captions. My international sales area, because it's very likely my film is going to get distributed in Asia area, which there are a lot of Chinese speaking countries. And then I do not have captions for other language other than Chinese and English. So if it come down to have to do that, my understanding is those local distributor will have the resource to do that, and then they generally will pay for that, since it's not likely that filmmaker will have small countries language captioned already. And then they want to have you give them the original script. Next one is a composer agreement and a proof of payment. Music is always the most important thing that they care the most. A proof of payment, I just saw this. I actually don't know if I still have it. My US distributor actually didn't ask that, and now I'm not 100% sure if I can find that, but I can definitely figure something out. And then the composer agreement is straightforward. They basically want to see if you have all the rights to use the music in the film. And the metadata sheet and information sheet. So the metadata sheet is basically a sheet of all the information about your film, basic informations like your film title, your film length, the runtime, main filmmakers, main actors, all the log lines, meaning different length of log line, like 100-word log line, 250 words log line, and synopsis. Again, different length of synopsis. Usually, they will give you the requirement of how long it needs to be, and then you're just trying to squeeze words into the space that they give it to you, as well as information of your reference films, your target audience, just those basic informations that you have about your film. That's the metadata sheet. And then there will be legal documents that required by usually distributor. One is chain of title. It's basically a list with the statement of all the legal rights or copyrights that you obtained. It's basically proof you have the rights to use everything. So I'll give you an example of a chain of title. I'm the writer of the film, so I signed the copyright of the screenplay to my own LLC, who produced the film. So the LLC contains all the copyrights for the screenplay to make the film, and that's part of the chain. So there are other situations that's more complicated. For example, if the producer acquired a novel and made it to a film, then the chain will be the rights to use the novel to produce that to a screenplay, to the rights that you obtained for the writer that you hired to wrote the screenplay for you. So usually that's work for hire. So you will have the rights of the novel, the rights of the screenplay, and then the rights to produce the screenplay and then produce that to a film, and then the rights of the film. So you see that's a chain of reaction, and you can't really break any part of that. So the chain of title is basically the statement with your signature and then a list of contracts for them to reference. Of course, on the side you will attach all the PDF version of all the contracts that you mentioned in the chain of title documents. So that's my understanding of it, and then that's what I did with my US distributor. I'm not 100% sure how correct I am, but it worked for me. If you are not sure what to do, you can also spend money, of course, get a lawyer to do it for you, and then that's some option for you as well. And I know other filmmakers have done that before. And you want to have the copyright of the screenplay, copyright of the film. Those are the things you probably already done once you have the script written and the film made. You want to file the copyright with the copyright process. There are a lot of YouTube videos teaching you how to do that, and then you basically just need that official document PDF version to show them. They also want me to give them a certificate of origin. They already gave me standard file. I just need to fill out the form and sign a signature, basically clarify where I made the film. And then they also want me to give them cast and crew agreements or contracts for those appearing in the main title and the building block, which means all the above the lines of the main cast and crews. I've already have agreement signed with them. Basically, in general, they work for me, and then whatever they created for the film, the rights now are mine. So I have all those contracts ready already. And also the main title and the ending crawl in a Word format. So that's kind of pretty straightforward. It's just listing in the Word format of all the titles and then all the ending credit for the film. And then this is pretty much it for my international sales agent. There's one more thing that I did for my US distributor is called the title search. You have to get a lawyer to do the title search for you. There's a website I used, clearancereport.com. You give them the basic information of the film and the film title. What they do is basically use their data resource to go search the title to make sure this title is not conflicting with something that's a little bit dangerous. Let's say my film name is Beneath the Banyan Tree, they will go to search in their database about the title Beneath the Banyan Tree, see if there's a novel that have a similar plot to my film, or there's other film called Beneath the Banyan Tree, or they will even just search the title Banyan Tree, Beneath the Tree, just stuff like that, and to pull out all the information and make a list, and they will have their opinion, see if this title is safe. So basically you want to have their signature with the legal opinion of the title is safe, and then deliver that to the distributor, so the distributor will feel safe to distribute your film and not getting sued. So basically that's pretty much it in my international sales distribution list. I'm sure when it comes to other distributor, it will have different elements in the distribution list. The one that I'm sharing with you is only pulled from my own experience, and I hope this is not so boring for you. So basically now all I need to do is by the deadline give them all the stuff that I'm listing here, and then now it's all down to how they pitch my film to the international distributors, and I'm just going to be sitting at home waiting for the good news. Yeah, I hope this video have a lot of real information for you and it's helpful. I know it's long and boring, but it's very important, and I know once you know those things, you kind of a little bit self-reassuring that, oh, it's not that bad, because once you know more, it's not as scary anymore. I hope this video does that for you. Anyway, please let me know if this kind of real information is helpful for you and what you want to hear next. And be patient, be present, stay creative. I'll see you next week. Bye. Be